Good day, friends. It is me, HLModTech, and I am back with another SketchUp 3-pack. Today, my friends, we're going to be doing the advanced lessons. This is going to be Mike's Malt Shop, a historical building, and a custom Glowforge glider. So, let's get cracking! Welcome to the SketchUp for Schools Ice Cream Shop tutorial. Let's start by naming our file and calling it Mike's Ice Cream Shop. Mike is the model on the screen, so that's why we choose that name. Click OK and it asks you what folder you want to put it in. We put it in our SketchUp Models folder, which is created automatically for us when you first launch SketchUp for Schools. All of these are stored in our Google Drive. Mike's job is to give us a sense of the size of the objects we draw on our model. We're going to click Select right now though, and we're going to press the Delete key to remove him from our screen. Notice that when we make a change, it says, hey, you need to save. So it always keeps us alert that we need to save these projects that end up in our Google Drive. Let's start building by moving over to the toolbar and clicking on the rectangle tool. SketchUp is a click and release program, so you click and let go, and then click the tool you want to use. Notice there are so many cool options. We are going to use the rectangle, and then from the origin, notice it shows you the origin. I want you to click and let go so that the tool is adjustable, and then type on your keyboard 30 with the foot symbol, and then type comma, and type 20 with the foot symbol. Notice that it shows up down in the dimensions box, and when you press enter, you are rewarded with a box that is 30 feet by 20 feet. Let's change this flat shape into a three-dimensional shape by using the push-pull tool. Click push-pull, click the center of the shape and lift it up, but let go of the mouse button, and then type 10 with the foot symbol for how large you want that to be. Let's give our ice cream shop a little pizzazz by using the orbit tool to drag the mouse so we're looking underneath. Switch to the amazing offset tool. Click that face and extend it past our original shape. Type the number 3 with the inch symbol and press enter. So it gives us a 3-inch offset. Find your orbit tool again. Drag downwards so that you can see that new offset. Switch to the push-pull tool, and we want to, and I'm going to scroll in so we can see this better, click on that face and lift it up, typing 2 with the foot symbol so it snaps to exactly 2 feet tall. Use the orbit tool to look at the top, scroll out so you can see it a little better, click the offset tool, and click the face. And then with it adjustable, go past the original shape and type your 3 inches again. Switch to your push-pull tool, click on that newly made offset, and we need to make it 2 feet tall as well by typing 2 feet and pressing enter. It's important to note that SketchUp for Schools does not have an autosave, so let's click save at this time before moving on, and stay aware of that red save button. Use the orbit tool to spin your malt shop around so you can see the front and are looking down at your offset. Switch to the rectangle tool, and then with the rectangle tool, find the cyan midpoint. Move the mouse to the back edge of that wall and type 3 feet, comma, 3 inches, and press enter. Repeat that process in the opposite direction, also typing 3 feet, with the foot symbol, and then a comma, and then 3 inches, and pressing enter. Let's bring the erase tool into play, and let's eliminate that box. Notice we've now made a 6-foot entryway. Let's clear out that entryway with the push-pull tool. If you bring this down and touch the edge point, it cuts out all those instantly. And then let's use the eraser again to erase that line that was going through. Since our entry is completed, let's click that save button. Let's add an awesome door to our entryway. First, let's use the orbit tool so that we're looking at our store from below. This helps us find the midpoint in a moment. click on the components choice and type SketchUp for schools door, making sure you do a capital U for SketchUp, and that will give you the awesome door for our ice cream shop. When you click, it'll bring it in, and if you go to the midpoint of our entry, you can immediately snap it into location. With that completed, let's click Save and then move on. Let's add some amazing windows to our project. Our first step has us clicking the tape measure tool. Click on the tape measure and click on the edge of our building and type 2 feet. So it gives us a 2-foot guideline. Do that exact same step from the other side, doing 2 feet as well, and then go in between the door and the trim and make a 3-foot high guideline. With those guidelines in place, switch to the rectangle tool, click on the intersection, and make a 8-foot by 4-foot rectangle that'll be our window. Do the exact same thing on the other side, typing 8 feet, 4 feet, and pressing enter when you're done. Switch to the eraser tool and remove those guidelines so they are out of our way. With that completed, switch to the amazing offset tool, click on the edge of our item and type 3 inches to create a 3-inch offset. Do the exact same thing on the other side. And then switch to the push-pull tool, and with the push-pull tool, pull that trim out 3 inches, typing 3 inches and pressing enter. Congratulations on making epic windows. At this point, hit save, and let's move on to awnings. Let's add some amazing awnings to our ice cream shop. Start by using the tape measure, moving to the edge of the wall, and coming in 1 foot by typing 1 foot and pressing enter. Do the same thing from the other side. From the midpoint between the door and the trim, make sure you're on the blue axis, type 7 feet, and press enter as well. This creates a nifty little intersection for us to make a rectangle from, and we want to make a 10 foot by 2 foot rectangle, and press enter. With the select tool, double click our newly created awning and make it a component, naming it awning. Then click on the glue to horizontal choice and click on OK. Switch to the move copy tool, click on the right corner because we're going to connect it to this corner, tap Control to go to copy mode and snap it to that intersection. Switch to your eraser tool and let's erase those guidelines we created. Using the select tool, double click our new awning and use the push-pull tool to pull it out 3 feet by typing 3 feet and pressing enter. Orbit so you can see it from the right side. Grab the 2-point arc, click on the top corner, the bottom corner, and type 6 inches so it creates a 6-inch arc. Choose the push-pull tool and push it all the way across, touching the little red point to the end point to complete our shape. Switch to the select tool and click anywhere out in space to close our component. We're only halfway through our awnings, but let's hit save just because it's a good practice to get into. Switch to the pan tool and drag everything a bit to the right. Switch to the orbit tool and look below your project. Find the move tool and click on the bottom right hand corner of the left awning. Tap Control, notice the plus sign, to go into copy mode and attach it to that edge of the building. Switch to the rotation tool and click on the first corner of our project and the last corner of our awning, and then rotate it 90 degrees. If you move to the protractor with your mouse, it'll snap to the 90-degree mark. Switch to the orbit tool and drag so you can see your project from the top. With our awning selected, switch to the scale tool. The scale tool has handles, and when you go from corner to corner and make it adjustable and then type 0.6 and press enter, it scales it to 60% of its original size. Orbit around and take a look at how awesome your ice cream shop is turning out, and then make sure you remember to click save before moving on. Double click the left awning to enter the edit mode. With the select tool, click the left arc, then click the move copy tool. Click on that arc again, hit Control to go into copy mode, and move that arc to the other side. Click and then do divided by with the divided by key and press 5 and then press enter. And it will instantly slice all the awnings into 5 equal sections. Components are amazing this way because they make us so much more effective. Click on the materials and find the red color from the color choices and color every other piece of the awning red so that it becomes red and white. When you're done, click outside the box to close the editing of the component, and then click Save. Now, let's select a color from the materials to paint each wall of the shop. I'm going to paint mine a style of blue. Use the Orbit tool to move around your building and paint all of the walls of your ice cream shop. Make sure you orbit when you're finished to check and see that you got them all. Since we've made changes, let's click Save. Grab the Orbit tool and rotate around so you can see the left side of our building and the underside of our awning. Switch to the tape measure tool and click on the line under the awning and make a 3-foot line along the blue axis. Let's orbit so we're looking a little bit more from the side. Click on our Components tool, type SketchUp for Schools Drive and press enter, and you'll be treated to the SketchUp drive-through window. Click it, bring it out on the face, click to set it down on that face, grab the corner by zooming in and finding it, and then snap it to that guide point we made earlier. Notice it tells you you've reached the guide point by popping up the little window. Scroll back out, pat yourself on the back for being awesome, and click that Save button. Use the Orbit tool to switch so you can see your building from the top. Choose the Rectangle tool and make a 30-foot by 2-foot rectangle by typing 30-foot, comma, 2-foot, and press enter. Use the Push-Pull tool to raise that up 6 feet and press enter. Orbit so you can see from the front, and use the Push-Pull tool again to pull the face out so it matches the face on the front of the building and both sides. Choose the Eraser tool and erase those seams to make it a one-piece design again. When you have that completed, let's click Save so we never lose our work. Scroll out so you can get a big look at the world, click on the components, and then type in SketchUp for Schools Ice Cream and press enter. Scroll down and find the one that was created by SketchUp. Click and bring it out in the world and set it on the face of your shape. Orbit so you can get a better look at it from the side, scroll in so you can see it better, and then use your Move tool to adjust it until you're totally happy. When you have it placed, use Orbit to move the world so you can see the back. Click the top of the pediment, switch to the line tool, find the midpoint, and connect it across. Switch to the rectangle tool, click on one corner of the pediment, and stretch it out until you see it say that you just created a golden section. Do the same thing from the other side. I'm going to orbit around so I can see it better. And then go back to the rectangle and create another golden section. Use your orbit tool so that the world is more flat. Click the line with your select tool that is in the middle, switch to the move tool, and lift that line up from its midpoint 4 feet by getting on the blue axis, typing 4 feet, and pressing enter. Orbit so that you've got to look from the front or the front side. Switch to our old friend, the offset tool, and we want to make a 10-inch offset. When it's adjustable, type 10 and press enter. Use the push-pull tool to push that offset so that it matches the face of the building. Then switch to the eraser to get rid of that line that appears. Navigate to materials and match the colors to the rest of your ice cream shop. With everything in place, let's make sure we click save so we don't lose our work. Let's make our trim on our mulch shop look a little more fancy. Switch to the circle tool, click out towards the red axis and type 1 foot and press enter. Switch to the push-pull tool and pull that up so it matches the height of the rest of our trim. Use the eraser tool to erase the lines. I'll zoom in so we can see those better. And then repeat that process all the way around the building at all of the endpoints. When you've completed the trim all the way around the building, then switch to your materials and find the asphalt and concrete. Select a concrete color you appreciate and add it all the way around the building. And then take a step back to see how awesome your project looks, orbit from every side, and that practice of click and save is essential as well. Let's add a customer to our mulch shop and put him over by the order window. Click the components box and in the search, type SketchUp for Schools Mike and hit search. When you scroll down, you will find Mike H by SketchUp. Click and bring him into your project and set him by the drive-through window. Scroll in and adjust until you're happy. Let's switch to our materials. Let's wrap up the colors on our project by going to the materials, clicking on the browse tool, finding glass and mirrors. Pick one of the glass textures that you think will look great on your shop. I'm going to use the gray one, and then I'm going to click the select tool. I'm going to double click on my window component, go back to that gray glass texture, and I'm going to put that on both of those windows as well. I'm going to also add the red trim by revisiting the colors, choosing red, and making the door that awesome red. Remember, when we click select and click outside of our component, it finalizes that component and we can take a step back, look at our amazing mulch shop, and hit save once again. Now that you've got everything put together, use the awesome components and all the skills that you have learned to make this mulch shop look just the way you'd like it. Thanks for following along in the tutorial. Make sure that you save your work, and we hope these skills are useful as you keep SketchUpping. good day, world. It is me, Mike Harmon, or HLModTech, and I'm here today to show you how you can participate in the 3D Vermont project without even installing SketchUp on your computer. You can even use a Chromebook or any kind of laptop. So right now, let's get started on using my.sketchup. Alright, so up in your browser window, type my.sketchup. And it will take you to a 3D Builder online site. If you're using a school account, you could also use SketchUp for Schools. Both of those are great choices. When you get to this site, you can just immediately click Start Modeling. Of course, you need to sign in, and we're going to sign in using Google. You may get a message about cookies. Of course, you need to use those. And with any project, we need to name and save. So let's start with a click and then enter the SketchUp folder. Note this is saved out with Trimble and not in your Google Drive, and then give your project a name. I'm going to do my same Wilder Vermont project just because I want to show you how well this mimics the actual SketchUp program that you have to install. Step one is to select Josh and hit delete. I want to use a location, and they've got an add location tool. In the professional version of SketchUp, it shows the buildings on these streets, which is wonderful, but you can see here it does not show me the building size that I want. So let me show you another way to get it. Simply visit Google Earth and do a search for the location you care about. I've zoomed in on Wilder, Vermont, and I want this building right here. I'm going to orbit so that I've got a moderately straight view of it. I'm going to check its measurements real quickly. Notice it shows me that it is in meters when I click to measure it. So I'm going to click and let go and click and let go, and it shows me 26.6 meters, which is 87 feet. Now that I know that measurement, I'm going to use a screenshot tool, Nimbus, and I'm going to grab the building. And then once I grab it, I'm going to hit the check mark to bring it in, save it to my downloads, return to SketchUp, and in SketchUp I'm going to bring in that file by simply dropping it on this location. Here's my screenshot from the downloads folder. Drop it as an image. When it comes in, I'm going to just set it at that location, and then I need to stretch it out. Remember, it had to be about 87 feet this way, and I'm just going to scale this way out. Now, I'm going to hold down Shift so I can move the axis with the rotation tool. Now I'm way out in the 200 feet. There I'm getting close to the size that it really needs to be. I'm going to double check by grabbing the tape measure tool, and let's see how close I am to the right dimension. If I go from here to here, right now I'm at 69 feet. So I'm going to stretch that out a little further. If I click on that image and I do the scale tool, I can pull that out until it's the size I want. This is kind of neat. You can see that it actually moved with it, so I can tell that my building is now 87 feet across. With that completed, it's time for us to get our axis set up. Back on that same tool, find the axis tool, and let's zoom back to the back corner. And when you bring this out, we want to get it right to the spot where you believe the edge of your wall is. I'm going to call that my red axis. And then I'm going to orbit. So I'm pushing in my scroll wheel so that I can orbit. And then I'm trying to line up with this part of this wall. You want to make sure you have that as good as you can, because this is the first part of your building. I'm going to be happy with that. So now I'm going to click the rectangle tool. Click the rectangle tool again. Remember, you always click and release in SketchUp. So I just clicked and I'm stretching this out, and I'm moving in to put it on the exact corner of that wall. Now I'm going to put in the little piece over here. Notice these are exactly across from each other. So I'm going to do this one because I can see the white edge a little better in my picture. And then I'm going to move from this location. I'm inferring the location, and I want it to go to the same spot on the other side. I'm going to double check this infer as well by moving across, and then it'll show me when those are lined up. And then I click and make them permanent. Grab the eraser tool and remove those two sections that are inside the shape. This blue means that the face is the opposite of the way I want. I want the white face. And now I'm going to push-pull my building up in the air so that I can add the texture of the front of my building. We're going to go back to Google Earth to do that, and we're going to use the really nifty Street View. I'm going to drop it right in front of the building, and when it spins in there, I'm going to orbit using the mouse tool and get a good straight view of our little Wilder school. Once again, I'm going to go back to the screenshot tool. I'm going to select that area, and I'm going to grab from the bottom corner of my building all the way to the top corner. Notice I lose a little bit down here on the bottom because of the way everything is skewed, because this is a satellite image, or it's an image even from the low area of a vehicle on this one. I'm going to hit save, put it in the same spot. Let's return to SketchUp, and let me show you how to bring in that image. Once again, insert. This time though, when we go to the folder, we still drop it on top, but we are going to use it as a material. We want to put it in this lower corner of our face, and then we want to stretch it out so that it goes to the edge. You'll notice the height is way off, and that is intentional. We are going to use the push-pull tool to pull it down to the approximate correct height. And then we need to get it so it's straight. And we're going to do that by right-clicking and using the texture position tool. These little points allow you to click and then move to the exact corner where it really is and click and set it down, and then grab it and drag it to the edge of the building where it should be. I'm going to zoom in up here, and I'm going to click and remove the little point, and then I'm following this wall up my texture, and then I think that texture ends right there. And then I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to snap it to the corner of my building as well. Click, release, move to the corner of the building. I can see the edge of the bottom brick right here. Grab and stretch that to the edge of the building I built. And one last time, do it up here on the top. I'm going to hold down Shift and the scroll wheel so I can zoom in on this corner better. Click and remove, find the edge of the actual building. Click and snap it to my shape. Double check to make sure that you've got everything where you want. I do not have this texture to the top of the actual building. And I think when I moved it, I missed because I did not note the part that was in the tree. And then I'm going to click and snap that in. Now I'm not happy with this side, but this is how you click, adjust, and double check till you are happy with your shape. When you're totally happy, just right click and choose done, and you are ready to start adding the windows to your awesome project. Now that I'm happy, I am going to erase the ground so that it's out of the way. I do not need this measurement anymore. I'm 6 inches off of perfect, but I'm happy with that for the building that I am creating. And now let's start adding windows. Alright friends, I got a trick for you here. Right click and do a line view so you're looking at it nice and straight. We are going to add windows, and we're going to start with these 3, but I've got a bonus trick for you. From this side, drag from the right to the left to select all of those pieces we don't need and hide them. That way, as we're building, we don't accidentally select anything on the back of our project. Draw your first window the exact way you want it. We want all of those windows to be straight across from each other, so let's grab the tape measure and let's mark out an axis all the way along the building so that we've got something to build off of. Move to your select tool, triple click that first window, hit the M for move, and then click on the first one and tap Control so it's in copy mode. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you can tell that it's mentioning those every time we do it. See how it says toggle copy? So I'm going to hit M for move again. I'm going to click that corner. I'm going to toggle copy again, and I'm going to set my next window right where I want it. Remember, the images are skewed, so trust your judgment instead of how it looks on the picture. turn to the side, switch to push-pull, and let's push that window in 6 inches, which is a nice number to show the texture when you're 3D printing. I'm going to press enter after I type 6 inches so it snaps exactly to that size. I'm going to click on the second window and I'm going to make it so that it touches the face of the other one, so I'm moving the arrow over. So now it has got the same distance. And then the next one, I'm going to just double click and notice they are all the same. Here's another bonus, is you can double check from the back to see just how well it turned out. Select all of those. So now you've got 3 of them selected. Once again, do the move tool. Click M for move, Control for copy, and set those 3 right beside, noting that they stayed on the red axis. I'm going to scroll out a little bit, hit spacebar to select, and let's do the entire chunk of windows. Once again, I'm doing move, I'm doing Control copy. This time I'm double checking the green axis and I'm lifting them up so that they're in the exact same spot, and then I'm double checking to make sure they are all the way I wanted. And then we are going to finish our windows by doing that exact same trick, grabbing all of them, hitting M, tapping Control for copy, and then set them where those windows would be. And take a peek behind, and bam, you've just done all of your windows in one amazingly easy step. Let's use a similar skill to draw this little outcropping. I'm going to take a rectangle and I'm going to start it at this edge, get it to the size it needs to be on that side, and then I'm going to zoom all the way over to this side. Once again, it has a little bit of a skew issue, but we just do what looks right to us. I'm going to take that design and I'm going to slice off the pieces where I want it to be gone, making sure that these 2 pieces I attach are also perpendicular, and then I'm going to erase the pieces that were in between. I'm going to use push-pull and pull that out 4 inches by typing 4 with the inch mark and pressing enter. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, 4 inches, and press enter. Friends, we're going to call that the end of lesson 1. Make sure you hit save. To get your stuff back, we're going to just hit the views tool, and we want to unhide all to bring back our project. As usual, we hit that save just to make sure that you've got it. You don't ever want to lose your work. And hey friends, if you're happy with what you've learned so far, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe. And if you want to be the first to know when there's a brand new movie from me, HLModTech, hit that notification bell. Last but not least, if you have a question or a comment, please leave it down below. Thank you friends for watching the video and competing in the awesome 3D Vermont contest. Good day friends, it is me HLModTech, and today my friends we're going to use my.sketchup to make our own Glowforge glider. So my friends, let's get cracking! To get to my.sketchup, simply type my.sketchup in a browser window. When you click this link, you will get a chance to sign in. I choose sign in with Google. If you're in a classroom, you may have a SketchUp for Schools app. They work similar. The difference is this one works even if you're not at a school, and it saves to a Trimble server location instead of your Google Drive. Either way, when we get to this screen, we must click Simple Template millimeters because our design is a special size. Click on the person in the middle and hit delete. Click Untitled, and we need to name the project. Click on their little SketchUp folder, and then down in the bottom type in the name. I am going to title mine Glider MDH4 because I've made this once or twice. Friends, SketchUp is a click and release program, so we click the toolbar and we click again to choose the tool we want. This location is called the origin, is where we start designing today. I want you to click and release so that mouse button is not pressed. If you just type 480, 280 and press enter, it records those dimensions and makes that exact shape down on your screen. We're going to Click on a cool choice here. Instead of orbit, we're going to fit view, and it zooms right in. If you roll your scroll wheel back, it lets you see it. If you switch to the orbit mode, you can look at it from an angle. We do not want the middle of this. This is just our guideline for how big the Glowforge bed is. We do want to prove our measurements, and we're going to do that with the dimension tool. Click the origin, click the end, stretch it out to prove you've got a 480 millimeter build area. Up in the top corner, click again, click the bottom, stretch it out, and prove you've also got 280 here. Remember, it's 1, 2, 3 clicks to make those little locations. We are going to use those same techniques to draw our fuselage. In the area where we can build, click a rectangle, stretch it out, and then I want you to type 300, 15 and press enter. This is our fuselage shape. Now you can choose other numbers later. I'm just going to choose 300 because I know that it works. I'm going to scroll in and look at the front of this, and I'm going to draw another rectangle, and I'm going to make this one 40, 12. And this is going to be the front where there's a catch so the rubber band holds. I want to get rid of this line right here, so I simply click the eraser and get rid of it. I want to click on the pencil tool, and I want to draw an angle so that it's more aerodynamic. I'm going to hit erase and get rid of that corner, and now we've got a way to launch our glider. You could choose to taper the front end a little, but I am going to warn you that this area is a spot that quite often fails on our gliders because the front of these cardboard gliders are kind of weak. We do want an area back here that we can hold on to, so once again we're going to use that rectangle tool, and this time I'm going to pull it out, and I'm just going to type 10, 30 and press enter. It went the wrong way, so I'm going to do Control Z. You'll notice right now it's stretching in every direction. That is because of the modifiers on the bottom. If we tap Control, it switches to the normal direction that we want to go, and I'm going to do that 30, 10 instead of what I typed last time. I'm going to switch to my pencil tool, and I'm going to make that shape aerodynamic as well. Notice now it will not catch. I simply use the eraser, and I cut that off and get rid of that line as well. That is going to be the fuselage for our sweet little aircraft. I'm going to make 2 of those. So right now I'm going to triple click. So that was 1, 2, 3 clicks. I'm going to switch to the sweet little move button. I'm going to grab this corner up here, but while it's moving, I'm going to tap Control, which is the copy modifier. And this is how you copy. When you click and set it down, you get another one. I'm going to make a 3rd fuselage. I can decide later if I want to glue all 3 together, but it's so easy to cut them and they fit so well, I'm going to put them on there anyhow. Let's add a wing real quickly. I'm going to do the rectangle. I'm going to start out here in the front. I'm going to click and release, and I'm going to type 180, 60. This is going to be half of a wing for my glider. I want the edges to be sloped, so I'm just going to start a line and I'm going to stretch it back to wherever I want. I'm going to hit escape because I don't want to draw from that spot. I want to draw from this spot, and I'm going to taper this wing to exactly where I want as well. I'm going to hit escape again, and then I'm going to find the amazing arc tool. I want the 2-point arc, so I can click on the first end, second end, stretch that out exactly how I like it, and my nifty little wing design is complete. I can erase these outside edges, and you can see that that is a fantastic little wing. I don't know for sure if it'll fly, but I do know for sure that I'm going to have fun building it. Once again, I need 2 of these, so I'm going to click once, twice. It selects everything. I'm going to switch to move. I'm going to grab that corner. As it moves by itself, I'm going to hit that modifier you can see on the bottom where it says Control is copy, and I'm going to just set it up there on top. I'm going to switch to that select tool. If I triple click or double click, I can grab that, and I'm going to hit M for move. Now I'm using shortcuts, And I'm going to just move it so it's close to the exact same spot as the other, so it's a little quicker when we print. Real quickly, same trick for the tail fin. I'll click back near this area so I can kind of see how long I'm making it. I'm going to type 50,80 for how large it is. And then I'm going to use the pencil to taper it the way that I want. So I'm going to go from the midpoint to the midpoint, and from the midpoint to the midpoint. When I hit the erase tool, you can see that this cuts off pretty nifty. As I look at it, this is quite long though, so watch this. I can change my design by simply hitting move, clicking on a piece that's easy to move, like this is pretty simple back here to move that line straight along the red axis. And I like that a little bit better. Let's see if I can move this point back as well, and yes I can. So now if I double click, it grabs all the shape. I'm going to do move, and I'm going to just line it up with this corner so it's a little more visually appealing as I check it out. And let's wrap it up by drawing that vertical stabilizer. Once again, I'm going to start with a rectangle. This time I'm going to make it 25,50. I'm going to use my little pencil tool, and I'm going to cut it however I want for my vertical stabilizer. That's what I'm going to choose. When I hit erase, I can take a peek at it. It looks a little larger than my other design, so I'm going to shrink it on this side right here. So notice that whole line turns blue when I grab the midpoint, so I can just push it back, and then the same thing up here. I'm moving to the midpoint, and then I want to make sure I stay on that green axis as I shrink it to the size that I want. My friends, right there is a cardboard glider. It fits totally in the area, so now we can grab our outside edges and we can delete them because we do not need them. We do need to make this all have thickness so that we can export it. So what we do is click push pull. Click on our first shape and let go. Type the number 4 so that it's 4 millimeters thick, because that's how thick the cardboard is. For the second one, if you just start lifting it and then touch the end point of the first one, it infers that exact same measurement to all the pieces. So notice red arrow, touch the corner, snap, 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 and snappity snap. It's that easy to pick a measurement and attach it to all of them. I want these two pieces to interlock, so this one's going to slide in this groove. Watch this trick. Let's zoom in to this part by fitting the view, and we're going to cut a notch out of it. My friends, it is this easy. So friends, click on this corner, and when you start drawing, if you get this rectangle, make sure you tap Control to switch. And then our rectangle is going to be 10 millimeters, 4 millimeters, so that we've got a notch that we can slide in. Switch to push-pull, and then push that face down to the bottom edge, so the notch is ready to be put in. We're going to switch to the rectangle tool again. We're going to go to the midpoint. When you find it, it will be cyan. This time we want that special rectangle that goes in every direction, and we are going to type 20. Notice we doubled the distance. It goes left and right, and I'll show you why in a second. Then we do the 4 and press enter. Went the wrong direction, so I'm going to do Control Z. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to tap Control, and this time I'm going to do 4, 20. This is the exact same direction that notch is. Notice we've got 10 this way and 10 out in the empty space. So we just simply erase the empty space. I'm going to spin around and look at it from the back so you can see this push-pull better. And then I'm going to use the shortcut for push-pull, which is P, and I want to touch it to this endpoint right there. Notice it cut out that awesome little endpoint so that these can slide into each other, and it makes it easier to glue. We could cut notches for our wings, which does make it a lot more sturdy, but this way we can put our wings anywhere along here as we try and find our perfect area of balance. So friends, we've got our glider built. Make sure you've saved it, and then we need to export it as an STL. When you choose export, if you're in my classroom, the STL file you actually want on your computer. So just put it in the H folder. It's got your name and hit save. The reason we do this is because STLs are not what the Glowforge use. To fix that, we are going to go to Tinkercad. If you've never been in Tinkercad before, simply use sign in with Google. When you get a chance, hit this little button and choose Create New Design. When your design launches, we need to make it Glowforge size. Click on Edit Grid, backspace, type 480, same as we did in the other project, and then on the length, make it 280. When you choose Update Grid, it'll look large again. Change it to say glider. Remember, mine was MDH4. I'm also going to put SketchUp after this so I know where I actually built it. The magic part of this is we can import our STL. Remember, we put it in the H drive. There's my glider MDH4. I keep the exact scale and hit import, and poof, your design appears. Once it's in, we can send it to the Glowforge for laser cutting with the awesome SVG export. This time, if you're in my room, you put it in the STL folder, and bam, your design is ready to be cut out. In the Glowforge, you simply hit upload, find that cool project. Remember, mine was in the STL folder. My cardboard is refreshing. I just opened the lid. I'm going to hit enter settings, and then I use a 1/200 100 speed 4mm setting for cutting my cardboard. And there you can see it is refreshed, so I can place it where it's supposed to be. Once again, 1/200 400. I do need to select the material. My material is uncertified. It's just free cardboard. Hit submit. When I've got it lined up exactly as I want, I can send it to the printer with that sweet little print button. Let's go see what we get. All right, friends, this is everybody's favorite part, magic button time. And there you have it, friends. 3 minutes later, we've got parts we can glue together to make a sweet glider. Alrighty, friends, so I'm going to make a separate video for the assembly and the flights, but now you know how easy it is to use my.sketchup or SketchUp for Schools to make a sweet, custom cardboard glider. Friends, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you got a question, comment, or suggestion, add it down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button, and last but not least, hit that notification bell if you want to be the first to know when there's a brand new video from me, HLModTech. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.